what are some of the challenges that you face when you're trying to move to a hybrid cloud? Well, first of all, it's very fundamental differences in technologies and how they're implemented. You know, 20 years ago when we were looking at just on-premise firewalls and even next gen firewalls, we became very comfortable with those technologies, how they worked, how they were deployed, and how we secure those effectively. And when we talk about things like SDN, when we talk about multi-cloud and even microservices, the way they function and the way we secure them is very fundamentally different, and that can pose a challenge, right? We especially when you talk about moves to cloud and things like that, that may be more public facing and more exposed. You have an incredibly increased potential attack surface, and if we don't understand how to properly secure that, it opens the enterprise up to really increased risk. The solutions, the security solutions that we're deploying on top of those are also very fundamentally different, right? So things like cloud have the public cloud vendors have their own sort of cloud native security solutions that is part of what we manage here at Tufin. But there are third party solutions that are specifically designed to work on top of the public cloud or SDN or Kubernetes. And those, again, very fundamentally different, and there's a skills gap, right? This is not something that people have dealt with for the last 20 years. This is something we're kind of learning as we're going, and that's another challenge that we have. Connecting and securing networks is another challenge, right? We're no longer sort of dealing with this perimeter, right? The perimeter is kind of just gone, and we have to worry about connecting all of these different networks that make up our hybrid network, but securing them, right? Ensuring that we have the connection, we have the connection necessary to function as a business, but also that connection is secure. We have a huge increase in the number of security solutions as we move to a hybrid cloud, right? As I mentioned, there are specific tools that are just meant for securing public cloud. There are specific tools for Kubernetes and networking on top of Kubernetes to secure Kubernetes networks. And again, in the SDN space, and what that's caused is really an explosion in the number of security solutions that you have to deal with, and that causes a number of problems. Your visibility becomes very siloed, right? You have a specific security solution that maybe you're using to manage your compliance and security inside of cloud, but that doesn't see the big picture of what's going on a premise or what's going on inside of Kubernetes. So you decrease your visibility, you become much more siloed. And that makes it very difficult to understand the overall impact of security policies and really effectively assess the security posture of your network. It makes it much more complex to manage. You have different teams that are involved in that, and troubleshooting becomes exponentially more difficult because, again, you're very siloed. You don't have that sort of full picture. And how do you assess compliance across there? Sure, your cloud network may be compliant based on scanning of the security solution you have in the cloud. Your on-premise network may be compliant, but what about that connectivity in between, right? How do you accurately assess that and determine that, am I assessing the proper regulations, and can I even have visibility into that? I mentioned the silos and the different teams involved in management. Um, that when you increase the number of people involved and the number of teams involved, processes more get more complex. It takes longer to get things done, and so the result is that a lot of the agility that we hope to get out of the hybrid network really gets sucked up into these silos, into these complex processes, and you get finger pointing back and forth, and you run into governance issues, right? Who controls what? And you have this expectation of increased speed and agility, and that can pose a challenge, right? Management expects, hey, we're going to go to hybrid cloud, we're moving to cloud, and our speed and agility is just going to go through the roof, right? And that puts tremendous pressure on the security and the applications teams to try to deliver that increase in speed and agility without sacrificing security. And in practice, that's very difficult to do.